It was supposed to be a simple ski trip. 5 of us drove up into the mountains just outside of Lake Tahoe, where the snow swallowed the roads and the air burned your lungs when you breathed too deep. The resort sat isolated against the white horizon wooden cabins, a main lodge glowing warm and golden, ski lifts stretching up into the fog like skeletal arms. As we were checking in, that's when we saw him. A man in his late 30s, beard frosted with snow, eyes wild and sleepless. He was screaming at the front desk manager, "You need to close it down." He shouted, "People's lives are at stake." The manager kept a stiff smile. "Sir, I'm going to ask you to leave. You don't know what you're dealing with." The man roared, "It doesn't stay in the trees anymore." Security escorted him out, while guests awkwardly pretended not to listen. We laughed it off nervously. Probably some drunk local. We forgot about him by the time we reached our cabin. Day 1. The slopes were perfect. Fresh powder, clear skies. We raced each other down black diamonds and wiped out in slow motion clouds of snow. By sunset, we were exhausted and happy. Except for Emily. She caught an edge near the lift and twisted her ankle badly. It wasn't broken, but she couldn't put weight on it. "Guess I'm stuck being cabin crew tomorrow," she joked. We left her the next morning with snacks, pain meds, and the TV remote. If we had known. Day 2. The sky felt different that morning. Clouds rolled in fast. The tree line looked darker than it should have. I remember pausing at the lift, thinking I saw something between the pines too tall to be a person. Too thin. But then it was gone. We stayed out most of the day. Phones had no signal on the mountain, which wasn't unusual. Around 4 p.m., the wind picked up hard. The resort staff started rushing people inside. By the time we got back to the cabin, it was almost dark. Emily was gone. Her crutches were on the floor. The TV was on static. The front door was open. At first, we thought she'd gone to the lobby somehow. Maybe someone helped her. But then we saw the blood. It started at the couch. Dragged marks streaked across the wood floor toward the back door. Deep gouges like something heavy had been pulled, or something had been dragged. We called the lobby. They hadn't seen her. Panic set in. We split into 2 groups and started searching. That's when the power went out. The blackout. Every light in the resort died at once. The mountain fell into absolute darkness. Not city darkness. Not dim hallway darkness. Pitch. We pulled out our phone flashlights. The wind howled so loud it sounded like something breathing around us. Then we heard it. Screaming. Not Emily. Something else. A high-pitched, inhuman shriek that vibrated in my chest. We ran toward it like idiots. And that's when we saw it. The RAKE. It stood under a flickering emergency light near the ski rental building. Tall, at least 7 feet. Pale gray skin stretched tight over bones that looked too long for its body. Its arms hung almost to the ground, fingers thin and hooked. Its face. God. No nose. Sunken black eyes. A mouth split too wide across its face, teeth small and needle-like. It turned its head slowly toward us. Then it screamed. In a blur it moved, faster than anything I've ever seen. It grabbed Jason before he could even react, lifted him, and tore him in half. Like paper. We didn't even hear him scream fully before it dropped what was left of him. It looked at us next, and smiled. The shot. A gunshot cracked through the night. The creature jerked backward, a chunk of its shoulder exploding into gray flesh. It hissed, skittering back unnaturally on all fours, before disappearing into the darkness between buildings. The man from earlier stepped into the emergency light glow, holding a rifle. I told them to shut it down, he said, breathing heavy. It hunts during storms. What is that thing? I shouted. He looked at Jason's body. They call it the RAKE. The bloodbath. We ran through the resort trying to gather whoever was left. But the place was already ruined. The lobby looked like a slaughterhouse. Blood smeared across the fireplace stones. Ski boots abandoned mid-step. Claw marks raked down the walls. It was here before the blackout, the man muttered. The storm just gives it cover. We heard something crawling in the ceiling. Not walking. Crawling. Tiles began to pop loose one by one. We ran again. Picked off. It stalked us for hours. It would appear at the end of a hallway. Disappear. Then scream from behind us. It grabbed Tara in the stairwell. She slipped in blood, and it dragged her into the dark before we could reach her. Mike tried to fight back with a ski pole. The RAKE snapped his arm backwards and crushed his skull against the wall. Each time the man shot it, it would fall, but not die. It doesn't stay down, he kept saying. It never stays down. Soon it was just me and him, and I was bleeding badly from a deep slash across my ribs. We barricaded ourselves in the equipment room. Outside, we could hear it scraping its claws along the metal door. Slow, patient, waiting. The truth. Why didn't they close it? I asked through pain. The man reloaded his rifle. Because this place makes too much money. People disappear every few winters. They call it avalanches. Getting lost off trail. He looked at me. It lives in the tree line. But it's learning. The scratching stopped. Silence. Then, the ceiling caved in. It dropped down on top of him. He fired point blank into its chest as it ripped into his throat. Blood sprayed across the walls. He shoved the rifle into my hands as he fell. Run. Final chase. I ran through the back exit into the blizzard. The snow swallowed my footprints instantly. I could hear it behind me. Not running. Crawling. Closing in. I reached the ski lift tower and climbed halfway up before my strength gave out. I turned. It was below me, standing upright again. Looking up, its mouth opened slowly. It began climbing. Not like a human, like a spider. I fired until the rifle clicked empty. It fell, 30 feet into the snow. And for the first time, it didn't move. Morning. Rescue teams arrived at dawn after the storm passed. They found me barely conscious on the lift tower. They found the bodies, or what was left, but they never found the creature. The officials blamed it on a gas explosion during the blackout. The resort shut down temporarily. It never reopened. Sometimes, when winter storms roll through the mountains near Lake Tahoe, hikers report seeing something tall moving between the trees. And when the wind howls just right, it sounds like screaming.